Anthropic just hit a $61 billion valuation. OpenAI is filing for an IPO. The AI market is projected to cross $800 billion by 2030. And while everyone is busy talking about these numbers, the smartest marketers are quietly doing something most people haven't figured out yet. They are running Claude Code directly on their own laptop. No subscription burning through tokens mid-workflow. No rate limits cutting them off. No data going anywhere. Just a fully private, always-on AI system sitting on their machine, working whenever they need it. Now here's why that matters for you as a marketer. Every computer you have has got access to the same AI tools. Same Claude, same ChatGPT, same everything. Which means the outreach your computers are sending right now is sharper, faster, more polished than it was 12 months ago. The clients you actually want, the serious ones, running serious businesses, they are drowning in that outreach. And they are still ignoring almost all of it. Because most marketers are just using AI to do the same lazy prospecting faster. More emails, more DMs, more follow-ups, just with better grammar now. The executives and business owners at the level you want to reach, they don't respond to volume. They respond to the one thing. When someone shows up and actually understands their world, their specific challenges, their specific moment. That's what this video is about. Before I get into the client getting system, let me quickly explain the local setup piece because this is important and most people skip it. Claude Code is not just a chat window you use on Claude.ai. It's a tool that runs directly on your computer, your terminal, your machine, your files. And here's what that unlocks. When you run it locally, there are no rate limits. No you have used too many messages, come back later. No subscription cutting you off right when you are in the middle of building something. You just run it. As much as you want, whenever you want. And the privacy piece is real too. When you are building intelligence briefs on target clients, which I'll show you in a minute, that resource stays on your machine. That matters when you are working with sensitive competitive information. Now the way this works is, you combine the Claude Code framework with what's called the local model. Think of Claude Code as the car and AI model as the engine. You can swap the engine. You can run it to the free open source model called Zemafo that Google just released. Completely free. Runs entirely on a laptop, even works on a flight with no internet. So if you are on the max plan spending for heavy usage, great. Claude Code with Opus is generally one of the best investments you can make. But if you want to run this system without burning tokens on research and competitive work, you can offload that to a local model and save Claude for high value thinking. First you download a free tool called Olama, pull the Zemafo model onto your machine in about 10 minutes and connect it to Claude Code. That's it. Your system runs locally. Zero cost on the research layer. Now you might be thinking, why does any of this matter for getting clients? Because the system I'm about to show you involves running deep research on dozens of companies at once. That's a lot of AI work. If every single query is burning through a paid subscription, most people slow down or stop. When it's running locally for free, you run it on everyone. And that volume of targeted research is exactly what creates the consistency. Alright, let's get into the actual system. Here's exactly what we are working through in this video. 1. Why most outreach is completely invisible to high value clients right now. 2. How to build a targeting system that finds the right companies at exactly the right moment. 3. The research approach that makes your outreach impossible to ignore. 4. How to turn that research into warm intervals consistently. And quickly before we go further, if you want this entire system built out and working for your specific business, I help marketers, B2B owners build the funnel and the outreach engine that gets them consistent, warm, qualified intervals every single month. Link is in the description. Now let's get into it. Why most outreach gets ignored? Here's the problem almost every marketer has and almost nobody admits. You are sending the same outreach as everyone else. Hey, I help company like yours grow their revenue, would love to connect. Hey, I noticed your business and thought we would be a great fit. Hey, just following up on my last 3 emails. The person on the other end of that message, if they are running a serious business, has deleted that exact email in that exact format every single day for years. Their assistant deletes it before it even reaches them. And here is what makes it worse. The more successful the business, the more invisible generic outreach becomes. Because high-value clients don't buy from people who reach out to everyone. They buy from people who clearly understand them specifically. So the question becomes, how do you become that person? You stop pitching and you start showing up with insight. You reach out knowing something about their business that they didn't expect you to know. You arrive with a perspective that's relevant to something they are actually dealing with right now. Not 6 months ago. Not a generic industry trend. Their specific situation. Today. And the only way to do that at any real scale is if you have a system doing the heavy research for you. That's what we are building. Part 2, the targeting system. Before you reach out to a single person, you need to understand one question. Why now? Not why would this company benefit from working with me? That answer is always asked for your ideal clients. The real question is, why would they be open to a conversation right now, this month, this week? Because timing is everything in high value outreach. The same message that gets completely ignored in January can book a call in March if something shifted in their world. So the first thing your local Claude system does for you is help you build what I call a trigger list. You give Claude a list of your target companies and you ask it to scan for signals. Things like a company just raised a funding round, they just hired a new VP of marketing or a new chief revenue officer, they just launched a new product line or entered a new market, their CEO just went on a podcast talking about a specific challenge, they just ran a campaign publicly that clearly didn't land the way they expected. All of these are doors opening. A new executive just came in. They are looking to make their mark first. They want new partners. They have zero loyalty to whoever the previous team was using. A company just raised money. They are now under serious pressure to grow. They need people who can actually deliver and they have budget to spend. A brand just launched something new. They are in execution mode, stretched thin, and almost always looking for outside help they can trust. When you build your outreach around these moments, instead of just sending messages into the void, your response rate changes completely. Because you are not interrupting someone's day, you are showing up at the exact moment they are already thinking about the problem you solve. Claude running locally, no limits, helps you scan for these triggers across dozens of companies simultaneously. What would take a week of manual research gets done in an afternoon. And because it's running on your machine, you run it on your entire target list, not just the 5 you had time for. Part 3, the research that changes everything. Okay, so you have your list. You know the timing is right on certain companies. Here's where most people still completely blow it. They do surface level research. They read the about page. They check LinkedIn. They write, I saw your recent post about X. And that line has been in so many cold emails now that it's become a signal for delete. What actually works and what high value clients actually respond to is when you come in with an insight about your business that it didn't expect you to have. Something that shows you did real work. Something that makes them think, how does this person know that? And here's how your Claude system makes this possible. You take a target company and you build what I call an intelligence brief. Not a summary of what the company does. A document that answers very specific questions that most people never even think to ask. Question 1. What is this company publicly worried about right now? Not what their website says. What their leadership is actually saying in interviews, podcast appearance, LinkedIn posts, conference talks. When a CEO goes on a podcast and says, our biggest challenge right now is X, that is a gift. Most people never find it because they never look. Claude finds it in minutes. Question 2. What has this company tried that didn't fully work? This lives in their content, their hiring patterns, their PR. If a company has hired and replaced 3 performance marketing leads in 18 months, there is a story there. If their public messaging shifted dramatically in the last year, something changed internally. These patterns tell you exactly what they are frustrated about before you have said a single word to them. Question 3. Who specifically are you reaching and what do they care about personally? The decision maker you want to talk to isn't just a job title. They have professional goals, things they are trying to prove, a point of view they have built publicly over years. Claude can put together a complete picture of who this person actually is from everything they have put out publicly. And that changes how you open the conversation completely. Question 4. What is happening in their industry right now that is creating pressure specifically on their business? Because when you can open a conversation with something like, I've been watching what's happening in your space and I think most companies are approaching this the wrong way, including possibly yours. Now you have their attention. You are not a vendor. You are someone with a perspective worth hearing. Here's the scale difference this creates. This level of research used to take a full day per company if you did it properly. A dedicated researcher doing it carefully. Maybe 5 companies a week, and that's all they would do. With Claude running locally, you build the research template once. A structured set of questions, a format for the output, a list of sources to pull from. Then you run it across your entire target list. In the time it is to take to research one company, you now have complete intelligence briefs on 15. And the output doesn't come back as a wall of information you have to parse yourself. It comes back as a clean, organized document. What this company is dealing with, what they have tried, what the gap is, and specifically, what you would say to open a conversation that gets a response. Part 4, from research to warm conversation. Here's what you actually do with that research. You don't lead with their offer, you lead with the insight. You reach out, whether that's a direct message, an email, or a referral introduction, and you open with something that demonstrates you have actually thought about their situation. Not I help companies grow revenue. Something specific, something that makes them stop and think, this person actually understands what we are dealing with. A message that opens with a genuine, specific observation about a challenge they are publicly navigating will get a response from a senior decision maker at a rate that will genuinely surprise you. Because almost nobody does this. Almost everybody is still busy. You are the one showing up with a point of view about their business. And here is the other piece Claude helps with that most people completely miss. The first message isn't the whole play. You build what I call an insight sequence, not a follow-up cadence in the traditional sense, where you are just checking in, adding social pressure, or asking if they saw your last email. Each touchpoint airs something genuinely useful, or relevant piece of information, a perspective on something that just changed in their industry, a brief observation about something specific you notice about their business. You are building a conversation, not running a drip campaign. And because Claude has already built a full intelligence brief on this company, it can help you generate each touchpoint in a way that feels completely relevant and human at every step. Not templated, not generic, specific to them. By the time someone responds to you, they already feel like they know how you think. They are not agreeing to a sales call, they are agreeing to a conversation with someone who has clearly done serious work and seems to have something genuinely worth saying. That is what a warm intro call actually is. Not someone who filled out a form. Not someone who clicked an ad. Someone who responded to you specifically because of what you demonstrated you knew about their world. Part 5. Why this stays consistent. The reason this produces consistent results every month isn't the tool. Claude is just the lever. The local setup just removes the friction. The reason it works is the underlying approach. You are treating prospecting like journalism, not advertising. You are doing real research, forming a real point of view, starting real conversations with real insight behind them. Most marketers never do this because it takes too long manually. You genuinely cannot do deep research on more than a handful of companies a week without burning out or letting quality slip. So people cut corners. They go surface level and then they wonder why serious clients don't respond. The local Claude system makes it scalable without making it impersonal. You are still sending thoughtful, specific human outreach. You just have a machine that makes that possible across your entire target list, running on your own computer at whatever volume you need. Once you build this out, the trigger list, the research template, the intelligence brief structure, the messaging framework, it runs. You add new companies, it produces new briefs, you spot new triggers, it surfaces new opportunities. Every single week, you have a clear prioritized list of exactly who to contact and exactly what to say to them. That is how we go from waiting for referrals to knowing with real certainty that your pipeline is being built. Now look, building this takes real thought upfront. You need to know exactly who you are targeting, what your positioning actually is, and how to translate research into outreach that converts. That's exactly what I help people build. I work with B2B business owners and marketers to put together the entire system, the targeting, the research layer, the outreach engine, and the funnel behind it, so that you are consistently getting warm qualified intro calls with the exact kind of client you actually want to be working with every single month. If that's something worth a conversation, the link is in the description. We'll get on a call, look at your business specifically, and map out exactly what this looks like for you. If this video gave you something useful, like it, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.